Hello, and welcome to my channel. This is Dancing Johari, and today we're going to customize Casta Fierce. When I got this doll, I was hesitant to do what I did with her, but at the same time I decided to embrace some cliches. Now, being who I am, I normally don't embrace cliches, but I decided to have fun with it. After all, she's got green skin, she's got black hair, why not? So, this Casta Fierce will still be a witch, but she'll be a witch of my design. Now, while the dress and her shoes and everything was nice, I decided to put those away and not use them. I decided to create her into something completely new from head to toe. So, first things first, I was looking at her head, I was looking at her hair. Can I save it? Should I save it? It was a little frizzy. I ended up saving it just in case it can be reused. It didn't feel gluey or gloppy like a lot of these dolls usually do, but I took off her head, I took off her hair, and I decided to replace it with the wig. So, without further ado, off with her head. And off with her hair next. But let's wipe it off a little bit. It was very damp. I should have taken it off first. Oh well, next time. We'll just cut that really short so that we can take it out with some pliers. And for that I use needle nose pliers, which I usually use for jewelry, but I have more than one set, so I save one for taking out my rooted hair and one for actually making jewelry or doll accessories. So let's get rid of all that hair, get it out of the way, put it away. Next, let's take off that factory paint. So I used pure acetone to do this part. Oh, wait, first, let's take out the rest of the hair plugs. Now with this, you want to sweep it around inside the head and it'll pull out chains at a time. It makes it a lot easier. It didn't take very long to take all of this out. I did end up using something a little bit more blunt to catch more of the plugs at once, so I could take it all out just a little bit faster. But in the meantime, just keep pulling, just keep pulling. And there's a lot in there, so you have to just kind of be patient and work it around. Sometimes they feel really hard, sometimes they feel more soft. This time it felt a little softer. You can see I'm really having to work there, but eventually I got it all out. So many plugs. Seriously, I don't know about other doll customizers, but my hand cramps after a little bit of doing this usually. There we go. Now we're going to take that pure acetone and we're going to take some Q-tips and some cotton swabs or cotton balls, and we're just going to get that all off, including the stuff on top of the head. We're going to be giving her a wig, so we don't need that paint up there either, so let's take it all off. Want to get that nice and clean. And sometimes you can get glue and stuff on the chin, sometimes this takes it off. Otherwise, you have to wash it a little bit more with some soap and water. The creases around the eyes and in the lips are the hardest part to get out, but with a little patience you can get it done. There we go. Oh, nice and clean. On to the face up. Now for this, I was considering using some pastels, but I have more and better luck with powdered cosmetic eyeshadows. So we're going to use a combination here. First things first. Let's do some shading with the thing for her lips. I used a pastel. Yep, there it is. Pastel. Used a pale pink pastel. Well, on her it came out pale pink. It's actually a much brighter pink in person. Of course, I had also given her 2 coats of Mr. Super Clear, the flat varnish. The reason being, you need a tooth and in order to get any of this stuff to stick to your doll. It's very hard to get it to stick or stay otherwise. And in between each layer, you gotta refresh or give it another layer. It's kind of like saving a layer in Photoshop, as people would say, which is very true. Now we're going to use some green to give her some contours. And we're going to blush her ears. We're just going to give her some cheekbones, a little bit of rouge. Nothing too bright. Well, maybe a little bright. Now we're going to give her a little eyeshadow. Here I'm using a kind of a neutral purple, I think. Maybe one of those really reddish. Looks reddish. Yeah, purple. On her it comes out nice and smoky looking. And of course a little bit of black for the eyebrows. I think I did a pretty decent job on her eyebrows. Of course, if you go a little bit out of shape, you can use your kneaded eraser or an eraser to kind of bring it back a little bit. And then you can reshape. Or redo the shape. Just takes a little patience and time. There we go. That looks pretty good. Maybe a little tweaking. You're not in frame, Joe. There we go. A little bit more on the lips. Trying to get as much color into that first layer as I can. Now let's kind of start her eye shape. Decided to use a pale green so that I would blend in with her skin color. And once I got the eye shape right, then we'll move on to the next layer, which will be a coat of Super Clear and then more pigments. Okay, here's the next layer, and I decided to go with a pumpkin orange for her eyes. So you see me filling in the eyes here. I'm just having fun with it. I don't do concept art. I don't even really think much beyond my original concept of, okay, I'm just gonna make this today. So I don't really have concept art to follow or anything else. But I decided I really like the green, and I really like the combination of green and pumpkin. So I decided to make her eyes like a pumpkin. Pumpkin orange, a little bit of green around the outside, but no pupil. I chose not to go with a pupil. Part of the no pupil club, I guess you can say. I'm going to put in a little bit of white for the iris, or the sclera rather, and a little bit of highlights under the eyebrows, along the cupid's bow of the mouth. Now we're going to take a black watercolor pencil, and we're going to just start the basic shape around of the eyeliner. I decided not to do a full eyeliner all the way along the complete waterline of the eye. I decided just to not get too heavy-handed, to just be a little more subtle, and it came out beautiful. I really do love how this doll came out. Now we're going to give her a little bit more detail on her eyebrows too. And of course, if you mess up, keep that kneaded eraser handy. And we're just going to keep working on whitening on each layer. We'll just keep working on whitening up the whites of the eyes. Just really trying to make those pop a little bit. Although I do put a little bit of gray too, just to give a little bit of shadow and definition and depth. And if you don't have quite enough vibrancy on the colors, just keep working on it layer to layer to layer. In this case, I decided to go a little bit of an ombre kind of effect. But I kept the green more towards the outside of the eyes, around the edge of the eye colors. And as I said, I really love how this doll came out. I wanted to keep as soft a look as I could on the eyebrows. I did want some definition and detail, but I wanted to keep it as soft looking as possible. Another layer, we're going to add some more color to the lips and just keep working on building up colors and vibrancy on each layer. One of these days I'll figure out how to get the footage to be straight on with the camera. color to the eyeliner. Working on making those details sharp again. And here's another layer. I think I went through like 6 to 10 layers of super clear on this doll. I didn't really keep count. Here we go. I'm trying to get that green to really just stay and pop. In the end, I think I gave it a pretty good balance. Now I'm going to give it a little bit more highlights. Cupid bow. At this point I think I pulled out a pencil and I tried to just give it a little bit more color with the pencil on the lips. Just to get that lip crease kind of a little bit more of color. And then I ended up switching to the eyeshadows to give it a little bit more color there on the lips in general as well. I think a combination of all the layers ended up giving her a really nice color to her lips. At this point, I decided to have a little fun with a little bit of yellow and give it a little bit more color. A little bit of a variation. Scratching the eyebrows or eyelashes as delicately as I could. Yeah, she looks so cute. Now for this one I was definitely not quite on camera. Oh goodness. Oh, there we go. Next morning I switched to some gouache. Gouache is a great watercolor paint that's a little bit more thicker in consistency than your traditional watercolors. I use that instead of acrylics to brighten up the sclera, add a little bit more orange to the eyes, and then I used a little bit of yellow, and instead of giving it a pupil I gave it a star catchlight, and then I gave it a little white trail, making it look like a shooting star. I had a lot of fun with this project. I didn't really give her pupils, but at the same time, the way she came out was gorgeous. I also used the gouache to brighten up the greens just a little bit and just give it a little bit more definition, a little bit more color, a little bit, just to make sure that that green really popped and was as vibrant as I could get it. I also use the gouache to brighten up the black eyeliner around her eyes and to make those eyelashes really stand out. Although I think at one point I did wet down the watercolor pencil to try to get it to do a finer line, but I decided that the brush was definitely the way to go. At this point, I kind of decided I was going to give it a little bit more eyeliner, but then I decided, nope, I didn't want to go that far. I wanted to keep it nice and delicate and not too out there. I believe here is face up pretty much all done. So we're going to give her one more coat of super clear just to make sure it's all nice and sealed in, and don't forget to wear your respiratory mask. And I would recommend using this stuff outside. You don't want to do it on a hugely humid day if you can avoid it. And then once that's dry, I take some gloss, Liquitex super gloss, and I gloss up her lips and her eyes. I just love how they came out. Seriously, doesn't that look like little shooting stars in her eyes? Okay, well, now it's time to make a wig. So taking some really stretchy performance fabric and a little bit of saran wrap and a hair tie, I then take some fabric, Elmer's fabric and craft glue, and I just coat the fabric with it. It leaves a really nice silicone type texture at the end, and also makes the fabric go pretty transparent so you don't see it as much once it's dry. Make sure you coat it really well. I also decided while I was making this that I was going to put some magnets on to help hold the wig on. The one thing I don't like about the wig that I use for my mini-me is her wigs fall off really easy, so I decided to make sure that this one wasn't going to fall off easy. So here it is. I'm installing the magnets onto the wig cap after just one coat of glue has been applied on. Applied it with some more, the magnets with glue, applied the fabric over it with more glue, and then coat the whole thing with another layer of glue and let it dry. After the third coat of this glue, I went ahead and traced out where I want to cut it, where I want to put the part line. I think I ended up making 3 wig caps for this doll because when I went to cut it and trim it, I over trimmed and made them too small. By the way, for this wig I used yarn hair wefts, and I followed Mosekito's Space Spun tutorial, but I had a little fun with it and I actually ended up kind of making it my own. Now here you see me putting magnets on the doll's head, but I ended up having to move them to make sure that they fit the wig cap correctly. In the end, it was not easy getting this to sit just right so that the magnets would line up. So I had to move the magnets. But, you know, after 2 or 3 tries, I got it just right. And next we're going to take some yarn. Oh, that's right. I had to remark where the magnets were sitting. So this way I could put them in the right spot. As I said, it took me 2 or 3 tries. I also, when I was doing her face up, gave her little baby hairs using my watercolor brush, watercolor pencil in black. This way, if I didn't get the hairline exactly just right on the wig, it wouldn't matter as much I would have a little bit of baby hairs to help cover any mistakes. Now here I'm making some baby hairs on the finished wig cap. I'm just taking some yarn hair wefts that I've already straightened and combed out, straightened with my flat iron, and I'm just kind of gluing them on after trimming off the excess, trimming off all of the glue actually, and just kind of sticking them on there so that they lay as flat as possible, rolling them down so they laid really nice and flat, because we're going to put more yarn hair wefts over this. Now at this point, I kind of lost my nerve to do the rest of this on camera. I'm sorry. I'm not that confident in my wig making skills yet, and I wasn't sure how it was going to come out. But as you can see, she came out gorgeous. I was so happy with this wig, and because of the magnets, it stays like a dream. I can even turn her upside down and it won't fall off. It's great. I did end up changing the style just a little bit in the end, but I think that it came out even better. Now at this point, I turned my attention to the outfit. Originally I was going to use this pattern by DGRequiem, and then I saw this picture, and I decided to do a day and night look. So, off camera, I made the peasant blouse out of just plain white muslin. And then I took some checkered Halloween fabric, and I made a bodice and a skirt. But at first I had to make sure that how this was going to look, and honestly it looks very sweet. But is it too sweet? And as you can see, I can turn her upside down, and that wig's not going anywhere. So here's her bodice in progress. I think I was waiting for glue to dry on the hemming at this point. And here's the skirts. Well, the beginning of the skirts. I ended up not really showing any of this because I was sewing it all by hand. It was taking quite a while. Plus I put a little bit of lace at the bottom hem. So needless to say, I ended up just dressing the doll as soon as she was done, and here she looks. She looks very sweet for her daytime outfit, but as I said, I wanted to do a nighttime look too, so I took these three fabrics and using Delightful's medieval corset and dress pattern, which came available just in the nick of time. Thanks, Catherine. So I decided to use these for the skirt. The smallest one, of course, is the top, the biggest one is the bottom, and then the plain black one was the middle. At this point, I'm considering changing her hairstyle, but I've already made the new dress off camera again. I'm a little shy when it comes to making things on camera sometimes, especially if it's a new pattern, and this was a completely new pattern. So let's see how the nighttime look looks. At this point, I realized her left hand had a little bit of a flaw. I ended up having to replace it with another hand that I had in my bin. Luckily, I had more than one Casta Fierce. I love the lace. This lace I found at Joanne's, and it's so intricate, but it was just absolutely perfect for this dress. Now for the corset, I had originally used a little bit of the extra lace chain link to use instead of grommets, but unfortunately this didn't quite work out as well as I had hoped. It looked okay, but the black just kind of melts into the black behind it, doesn't it? How to fix this? So here she looks, but she needed some fine tuning, so here she is with some fine tuning off camera, a little necklace, a little change to her hair, some different things to use for her corset. Instead of that lace, I ended up using little hooks. Well, not the hooks, the loops for the hooks that I would, normally would use on a bra. And I used those, and that took care of that problem perfectly. Some pumpkin orange ribbon, and of course I made this little broom off camera. I used it to pick from Joanne's that I found that had a couple pumpkins on it, and it actually looked so much like a broom. I was going to use just part of it to make a broom, but I ended up just using the pick itself for the broom. I took off the pumpkins and the leaves, and here she is, all done. I really do love her, and unfortunately she's not going to be staying, but I loved her so much I made her a twin. I do know that the home she's going to is going to love her though, and I know that she'll be very well taken care of and cherished, which is all that matters to me. So in the meantime, I hope you all have had a good time watching this video. Please like and subscribe if you liked it. Thank you for watching, and happy Halloween!